Interviews with Connie Fuksa. I am Connie Fuksa, and I like to talk to you guys. I'm bringing you stories, really stories about amazing entrepreneurs that have figured things out or are willing to try to figure things out. And I'm bringing you their stories for several reasons. One, because I want you guys to see that, anybody can do whatever they want, no matter what hurdles get in your way. It's just about how you navigate through those things, and you just need to get started. So hopefully bring you some inspiration, some information, some thoughts about maybe people or people that you've not met before, and let you hear their story and how they've made the transition from working somewhere else to taking it on themselves. So today I have the amazing pleasure to bring to you a lady that has so much energy and is so powerful and not afraid to talk to anybody about her business and other people's businesses and share. She is a networking queen and has an incredible business of her own. And so, Peg, I'm so thrilled to have you. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Connie, thank you so much for this great opportunity. I've been watching your interviews and they're just so inspirational. So thanks for including me as one of your spotlight guests. I am Peg Duchesne. I started a company in 2007 called Duchess Enterprise. Nobody can spell Duchesne, so I tap on the Duchess part of my name. I treat my clients like royalty. I'm a communications consultant and a marketing strategist, and I help small business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs develop and deliver their message. So often folks like that are busy working in their business and they don't take time to work on their business. And I help craft the perfect message and get what they're trying to say about their products and services and their company out to their perfect client or perfect customer. So that's what I do. I'm known as the message therapist. I massage the words so that your message will count.
Wow, that's great. You sort of rolled everything that I was going to ask you all into one little paragraph. So I love that you brought up some things though that I really want to share with everybody, because I think that so what I really want to do, let's start back at the beginning. So let's talk about Peg. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? How did you get to this point that what you're doing now? And then talk to us a little bit about how you transitioned into this specialty that you're working on now and working with people and helping them with their message.
Well, thanks. So after I graduated from college, which was at St. Mary's College of Maryland down in St. Mary's City, Maryland, I had a degree in psychology, and I went to work for law firms in Washington, D.C., and I worked in litigation departments. I started out as a legal secretary and then was a paralegal or a legal assistant, and working on trials and getting exhibits ready and depositions and getting clients ready to testify and all those kinds of things. And at one point, the leader or the head attorney of the litigation team said, no document can be filed at court until Peg Duchesne has proofread it. So I always had a great knack for language and editing and spotting errors in documents and those kinds of things. I think it probably came from my upbringing in Catholic education way back when the nuns taught me how to what do you call it? When we used to diagram sentences and the verb and the noun and the adverb and all those things. I just had a love for language, and I read a lot, and that had a lot to do with my formation as well. So based on that, I worked for law firms for a long time. And if you've ever known much about litigation, especially from TV shows about law, you know how overworked and exhausting a job it can be. So after about 30 years in that line of work, I decided to branch out and form my own company, being a communications consultant. And when I first left corporate America and started my business, it was 2007. So you'll remember what happened to the economy in late 2007, 2008. And the saying goes, if you're in business 10 years from now, you're doing okay. So I am in business more than 10 years after I started. So I'm happy about that. Social media was just coming online at the time that I was leaving corporate America. And I really saw the value that digital marketing could bring to a business owner and in another way to get their message out. And so I was happy to work with small business owners and entrepreneurs to help develop their message and attract new clients to their business and those kinds of things. So that's what prompted me to start that business.
Wow, very interesting. I mean, what a transition that is from, a lot of people come out of college and then go to a traditional type of a job. But let's go back to that. So you started with a psychology degree and it from that went into the law field, which is interesting. So we've talked to a couple of people with psychology degrees and how they've switched or how they've used those in different areas and what they wanted to do. And then in that law arena, it just seems so farther on the other side of the spectrum. So that's really interesting as well. And you did that for a long time before you decided, nope, I want to go out and do something different myself. And so obviously, because it was exhausting, but I'm sure there's some reward or a different kind of reward for you in your own business and being able to do things a little less stressful, but a little more interactive with people one-on-one.
Definitely. Well, with regard to my psychology degree, I used to say balancing the egos of those attorneys, and these were really big firms. I'm not going to name drop, but big firms, and the best law students from the best law schools across the country came to work at these law firms. And so balancing their degrees, I think balancing their egos took a psychology degree to do it well. And I worked with all levels of management. And I think my psychology degree certainly played a part in my success in that career. But
Right.
I did decide to branch out and do something for myself instead of working for, quote, the man. Uh, so, yeah, it was exciting, though. Social media was just coming on, and I really saw the value in how I could bring that to business owners. And the success that they have had through my assistance has really been rewarding.
That's really interesting. So tell us a little bit more about your business. So like who is somebody that you like to work with, not a specific person, but maybe somebody who's trying to get a certain thing done. Is your business a recurring business? Or is it usually a one-time thing with people? Tell us a little bit more about your business itself.
So it can be both recurring and long term. The clients I like to work with most are people like real estate agents, people in the real estate field. So settlement people, mortgage lenders, those kinds of people, as well as the agents showing and selling homes, but other businesses as well. So you and I initially met through the organization called BNI, Business Network
Mhm.
International. And great clients for me are people that are in BNI trying to promote their business. So it can be the insurance salesman who just is busy knowing what policy is the best for his clients, his or her clients, and doesn't understand the marketing world. And that's where I can come in and understand their business and help them get the messaging that will give them a good return on their investment. So small business owners who work hard in their business but want to attract new clients to do more of the same with more people, just like the questions you're asking me about who are the best clients. That's one of the questions I ask my clients about who do they like to work with, and let's get more of the same into their funnel so that we can um, attract them and get them in the pipeline to serve as well.
Nice. So do you work with people just in your particular area? Is it a one-on-one relationship, or do you work with people all over the country? And particularly now we're all learning how to do things online. So obviously that your business, I would think, is something that is scalable no matter where somebody is located. You can work with them pretty much anywhere now.
Well, being a digital marketer, you can take advantage of all the digital platforms that we have. So many people never heard of Zoom before a month ago, and now aren't we all wishing we'd bought stock in the Zoom platform and those Be Live and all those kinds of sharing devices. So I can serve clients around the country and even around the world. I tend to do more local just because the way I attract my clients more often than any is through the Business Network International, the local chapters, and I work in Southern Anne Arundel County as a director. So I work directly with 5 or 6 chapters, and I get to know and like and trust those people, and they in turn know and like and trust me. But it's not limited to that by any means.
So talk a little bit more about BNI, because I know that's a very important part of who Peg is, and you've been involved in BNI for a long time. So will you talk to us just a little bit about BNI, the concept, the networking, and how that actually works too? Because I think that's really important for people to understand, as well as they're learning how to maybe expose their business. Maybe that's the avenue, maybe it's not. But I do think that that's an important thing to share, because it's certainly something you have a lot of knowledge about as well.
Well, thanks so much for that question. Now, BNI has been a big part of my life. When I first left corporate America and came out on my own, so to speak, I went to a BNI meeting, Business Network International, as a visitor of somebody who ran a website company. And they wanted me to go as to get to know how the system worked and then be their sub when they couldn't be there. So BNI is an organization that's been around for 35 years. We're the largest networking organization in the world. Their motto is givers gain, and it's all about the more you put out, the more you get back. And that's the foundation upon what my business is built on. Is it's so much more about farming than it is about hunting or fishing. You don't just go out and catch one client of the day or kill one client for the day. It's more about planting seeds and nurturing those seeds and getting a return on your investment for the long haul. So I went as a visitor, saw the power, did subbing for this website design company, but also decided to join on my own for my own company. And I can now, looking back since 2007, when I first became involved with BNI, can trace 83% of my clients to either a BNI member, a referral I got through BNI, or a referral from a referral. So I've done business for one person and they said, wow, that social media marketing campaign you did was really good. Who did that for you? And then they introduced me to their person who was asking questions. So BNI, Business Network International, like I said, 35-year-old organization. We're in over 70 countries around the world, and you become part of a worldwide organization, and each local chapter has one person per profession. So if you're a real estate agent or an insurance agent or a mortgage lender or a digital marketer like myself, you're the expert in the room. It's not like when you go to a chamber event and there's 7 other real estate agents there.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one and only who does what you do. And so you're the expert. So when mortgage rates fluctuate, people turn to that realtor or to the mortgage lender and say, what does this mean? Is now a good time to refinance? You know, all those kinds of things. So you become the expert. But the other thing I love about BNI is that it brings value to me that I can then take to my clients. So right now, everybody in small business and entrepreneurs are wondering about this payroll protection loan that we have, and the small business association loans that are available now during this pandemic. And I'm getting information from the CPAs and the financial advisors and the small banks who are actually doing the paperwork for their customers and what the trends are. And Wells Fargo had been a good bank, but now they're overwhelmed and can't do it, whereas the smaller banks in local communities are the better place to turn. And those kinds of pieces of advice make me more valuable to my clients and customers because I have that knowledge that they might not know and might not have access to.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that you've been involved in that organization for a long time. And for people who don't know enough about that, it certainly is an area that entrepreneurs, as you said, we met through that, and entrepreneurs can expose themselves. But you brought up a couple of things that I wanted to go back and share a little bit or expound a little bit on, because I feel like these are things that are are just common themes through the entrepreneurial conversation. And one is the theme of building relationships. You know, we've talked about this with probably 2/3 of the entrepreneurs that I've talked to over the past couple of weeks. And I talk about this a lot because I feel like people who go out and spam everybody on social media with their ads or their product or their service, people just tune it out, right? So, and I talk about this a lot because I want people to understand that when you do live broadcasts, like what we're doing with these interviews, you're exposing people to the real you, and they have the opportunity to build a relationship with you because they can feel that connection and they can understand you. And you also talked about the know, like, and trust, which again is another concept I talk about a lot in my coaching business, because I want people to understand that relationships in business and the way that you grow your business is relationship built. And people can only make a relationship with you, or only want to, if you provide value in something that they feel like they can trust you and they understand who you are, and maybe you have some connection. So if you talk about that just a little bit more, because I think with the BNI connection, that's part of it, but you also have built your business completely, or most of it, 83%, which is absolutely phenomenal, and that you can and report on that is amazing as well. But if you could talk about that a little bit more, that relationship marketing, that would be really great.
Sure. Thanks for that. So I there's a saying that it takes sometimes 7 to 10 or 12 quote touches before a person knows who you are, remembers who you are and what they do, so that they think of you when it's time to implement whatever it is you sell. Or, so if you're a mortgage lender and you're talking about refinance loans, it might not be the time, but you need to stay top of mind with them through a variety of touches so that they remember who you are. And people resonate to so-called touches in different ways. So I have a myriad of ways that I recommend my clients stay in touch with their perfect customer, perfect client that they'd love to do business with, so that when that person is ready, they think of you. So it could be a piece of mail that you send. It could be an email. It could be putting them on your newsletter, your email newsletter, or I'm a big proponent of newsletters in the mail because the delivery rate is 100%. People open mail that comes in their mailbox more than they'll open the 800 emails we get in a day. Sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle, those kinds of things. So I help design marketing pieces. I'm a big proponent of the product Send Out Cards. Anybody who's interested in that can look at duchesscards.com, DUCHESS cards.com. And if you haven't heard of Send Out Cards, that's a great way to stay in touch with your potential customers, those kinds of things. So as I said earlier, it's all about planting the seeds and nurturing those seeds so that they'll remember. So a big part of my strategy is to be a relationship marketing person that helps my clients build those relationships that then lead to the profitable turnaround that they're looking for when the person is ready to buy the product or service. So
phenomenal. That is just absolutely powerful, the way that you're talking about that, and also talking about how your business can help with that, because I think that's, part of what we're trying to do here is not only give people ideas and thoughts and realize that the entrepreneurial side of life can be challenging, but there's ways around some of the hurdles that you have, and showing some hurdles that people have had, but also to bring in how your business is an area that people can actually tap into to try to maybe, structure things or give a little bit of different direction, that they can understand how they're building these relationships and how important they are. Somebody, and I'm struggling because I don't have my glasses on, but Jessica Koch wrote in, do you have to give leads to others in BNI? I am always worried about giving my client information to other people. So do you want to speak about that?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Thanks, Jessica, for that question. What happens in BNI is our sole purpose of meeting is to develop that know, like, and trust concept with your fellow chapter members, and getting to understand their business, the nuances of their business, and how you're serving others. And so through the weekly meetings where you give an 1 minute, 1.5 minute overview of what you do and what you're looking for, we have a proven strategy that helps you develop the relationships. So it's not like referrals are a natural way that come out of this concept. So every week, every member gives an overview, and then every so often, each member has the opportunity to be on Spotlight and give a 10-minute in-depth presentation on what their business is all about and the clients they're trying to attract. And then you will know, based on the education they're giving you, what a good client is. And it's not like opening your whole Rolodex, if you will, that old term we used to have big boxes on our desk filled with cards, but the
Right.
Rolodex in your brain or the contacts you have on your cell phone, whatever. It's not, here's my database. But if a real estate agent is saying, I have the perfect home on the market, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, 4-bath, whatever, with a backyard fenced in, perfect for a dog. If you know a family that has 2 or 3 kids or is expecting another child and needs to move to a bigger home. So you're painting the picture, and then the people in your database, you can make those warm introductions of a person that is pregnant and needs to buy a new house because it's not going to be big enough. They just found out they have twins, whatever it is, you'll make those warm introductions. So, we know in BNI that if you educate your chapter members, you're going to get the referrals that you're looking for based on the education you're providing your members.
Well, and
So
I
it's
think
a natural flow rather than a requirement.
okay. And I think one of the keys that you said that is very important to mention right here is that it's a warm introduction. It's not like you're opening your cell phone and going, okay, here's all my people, or even, hey, here's a person's name, phone number, email address, whatever. You're not offering that up without making an introduction between the two people. So I think that's really important to point out.
Absolutely. It's so much different than just a lead. It's a warm referral, a warm introduction of the person with the need and the solution to that issue or problem or challenge that they have. Absolutely.
Very nice. Very nice. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So let's go back to something that I love to talk about. Tell us what makes you all energized when you're working with somebody and you're doing something that's really in depth. You're working on a project for somebody, their marketing project. You're trying to help them get all of the tools that they need or the pieces they need to get build their relationship with their clients and obviously drive more business into their business. What is the thing that gets you charged up that like really just makes you feel like you're glowing, you're like on top of your world, and you say, oh my gosh, that's exactly why I do this for a living? What is that? Tell us about Peg.
Well, one of the things I love to do is sort of the MacGyver approach to solving the problem. So MacGyver was the guy who could, didn't have a screwdriver, but he had a paper clip and he could make make whatever it was work or fix it or whatever with a piece of duct tape and whatever. And that's what really supercharges me is so often small business owners or entrepreneurs have a limited budget, and I try to get their biggest bang for their buck based on what we can do. And so I try to do the MacGyver approach. These are the couple of things I can do, but if we patch it all together like a jigsaw puzzle, this might work. And then what supercharges me is that, let's say I make a Facebook ad and we attract the exact right client to fill their funnel, and then lo and behold, it works and they get 3 or 5 perfect customers reaching out and wanting their product or service or more information about how to work with them. That's what supercharges me.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's wonderful. I could even just see it on your face when you're talking about it. And that's what's so fun about doing these interviews is because as we're talking about things, oh my, I think I just lost Peg. What happened? Oh no, Peg, dial back in. We so think alike. Yep, I think you guys do. Duct tape and a paper clip or a ballpoint pen. Very good. Somehow we lost Peg, so hopefully she'll dial back in. But as you guys can see, this is so powerful. This lady helps you craft messages and gets your information out there, doing the marketing to drive business to your business. So what I hope is that she'll be able to run right back in. Yeah, gotta love technology because it seems like every day we have a little bit of struggles, and it might be because of this win that we're having a little more struggles than we had hoped. But wait a minute, here she is. Here she is. We get her back in. Gosh, God,
I don't know what happened.
We're just talking. Maybe it's the win. There she is. She's back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, who knows? So many crazy things have happened during these interviews. It could be just about anything. But so what I was just saying while you were gone was, it's so interesting to see as you're helping people craft these messages, all the different tools and nuances that you have, but looking at the energy just to see you MacGyvering things together. I love that analogy because there is a newer form of the MacGyver show. And I just love that. You take a paper clip and some duct tape and you can make a radio tower or whatever. And, so it's really cool to see how you are working with your clients to do those kinds of things. So let me ask you another question while we still have a little bit of time. What do you think is the strongest suit that you have? Like I say superpower, some people look at it as different things, but what is the thing that you bring to the table that is just like you are magical? It is your superpower. This is what you do better than anybody else that does marketing or social media advertising that you do.
Well, I think it's my 2 ears and my 1 mouth, and I know how to use them proportionately. I am a really good listener, and in the listening, I come up with nuggets that the client may not have even known they talked about. And then I take that and, as I said, I massage their words and come up with crafting the perfect message to attract the right client. So I would say my 2 ears and my 1 mouth and using them proportionately are the skills that I bring to the table.
Absolutely love that. You hear that that phrase all the time. Use your two ears and more than your mouth. Whenever you're in a business kind of atmosphere, people talk about that all the time. But it's very powerful that you say that, because I've done some work with some different people that and watched them do some of what you're talking about, and listening and being able to pull out facts or nuggets or information about how somebody shares their business is a true talent. So clearly, that is why you've been so successful through the economy crash and all of those things, because you clearly have some staying power, and obviously you've tapped into what your superpower is, which is really exciting. So if somebody wanted to work with you, what is the first thing that people want to know, ask about, they don't understand about your business? What's the common thread there?
Well, they always ask about the return on investment, and they want a quick turnaround. I mean, we're in this day and age where, you want results immediately, and that's not the way digital marketing works. It's all about being consistent, having a good message, hitting people up in different ways, but with the same or similar messaging across the board of all those touches that I spoke of earlier. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's not an overnight success. It's all the hard work behind it. It's like the image of the iceberg. You only see the tip, but underneath is all the hard work that built you up to the success that you are. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Honestly, that's a theme that we've talked about with entrepreneurs throughout this process too, is people seem to think that, oh my gosh, I have this great idea to start this business and get this thing going. And they expect to walk out of the gate and in the first year, like, have this massive success. And, business is always an ebb and flow kind of thing. And you're learning as you go along. And yeah, you may have some success, but it's probably not going to be sustainable if it's that quick out of the gate, number one. And number two, everything you do builds on the next thing. And so to be long-term sustainable success, you're building and growing and learning as you go along. And the same is true with your marketing.
Well, and you need to be able to pivot. Whatever challenge is in front of you, you need to be able to figure out a way to work around it, overcome it, do it a different way, those kinds of things to be successful. So it's not an overnight success, but diligently working on your business while you're working in your business will bring you the success you're looking for.
And usually the last question I ask people is to talk about their elevator story, but you sort of did that for us at the very beginning, which was fantastic. So I want to ask you a totally different question. I want you to tell us, because I think it's very real. People need to understand that entrepreneurs do have struggles. They do run against brick walls. They do need to pivot. And so give us an example of like one of your biggest hurdles that you had to overcome and how you were able to overcome it, if you're comfortable doing that.
Sure. So one of my biggest hurdles early on was, in 2008, that economic struggle. And I was brand new in my business, and I had to find ways to be creative on a low budget. And I do what I tell my clients to do. I'm consistent. I fill my funnel. I have ways to attract new clients and figure out ways that I can work with them. And so what I tell my clients to do, I do myself. And so I'm a product of my methodology, and I know the success because I've had it in my own business. So, like I said, MacGyvering things with just working in a way that makes things come to fruition based on what we can do and say and those kinds of things. So
I love it. Well, and I love it because I think it's very relevant right now. I mean, people are thinking, my gosh, what's going to happen next month? Hopefully we're coming out of this a little bit. And maybe you decided to start a business a month ago or 6 months ago or last year. And how are we going to come out of this, and what's going to happen to my business? So I think that's very timely to have this conversation, and for your thoughts to be related around the last basically big structure change in our economic environment before. So I think that's really powerful. And I really love the fact that we could end on that. So Peg, if somebody wants to reach you after today, find out more about you, figure out how to work with you, ask you questions, how can they do that?
Well, there's two ways I'd love to have them connect with me. One is the colormeyes.com would be a great way for me to have them take a profile, figuring out what their sort of buying personality is. So color, COLOR, me, yes, YES.com. It gives them a quiz. Anybody familiar with Myers-Briggs or DISC and those kinds of things?
Mhm.
It's similar to that, but those are based on psychology. This is based on biology, spelled BUY. It lets you know what your buying personality is, what kinds of things are important to you when you're making a buying decision. And that helps me help my clients. So colormeyes.com. And then my regular website is Duchess, DUCHESS, LLC.com, DuchessLLC.com. That's another great way. And we talked a lot about BNI in this interview. Peg at BNI, the number 4, Shore, SHORE.com. If you have want any information about BNI, where chapters are. We are still holding our meetings. We're meeting weekly. Referrals are being passed. Income is being earned. So BNI, the number 4, Shore, SHORE, spelled like the ocean.com. That's my email address. So thank you so much, Connie.
Excellent. And if you would do me a favor and share all of that information in the comments below, that way anybody who's watching and didn't get it written down fast enough, that would be there for them to link as well. I would really appreciate that.
Sure thing.
And then tomorrow,
Sure thing.
I'll be sharing the link to the replay of this so Peg can share it on her pages and all of her social media outlets. It has been my honor to have you on today. I'm so happy to learn so much more about you and your business that I didn't already know. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Connie, very much. Take good care.
Yeah,
Bye.
I hope you guys enjoyed this today. And look, there's several interviews. We're going to be continuing to do interviews throughout the day. So keep in tune with that. Remember, if you guys want some more information on being able to understand how to share your value, that's one of the things I do. Help you with your leadership training and your team building, but also help you understand all of the value you have in your brain and how to get it out onto paper. So ConnieFuksa.com is there. We've got some tools on there that I'd really like you to check out that can help you do what we're doing here today. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks again, Peg. I'll catch up with you guys again soon.
Thanks.